Welcome to Rooted, Stories of Community Driven Change, a special podcast partnership between Island Girls Rock and the Clara Lionel Foundation. We are sitting down with women leaders across the US South and the Caribbean who are leading organizations rooted in culture, community, and purpose. These are the voices reshaping local power structures, uplifting traditions, and proving that the most powerful innovations emerge from deep community roots. In this episode of Rooted, we sit down with Carine Jocelyn, nonprofit leader, trailblazer, and the founder of the Haitian Women's Collective, and also the Fund for Haitian Women, which is the first women's fund in the Caribbean region. We talk about her remarkable journey, the power of women-led organizations coming together across the region, and what it truly means to build for the long haul. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. Welcome back to Rooted, Stories of Community-Driven Change. Today, we have a guest who embodies what it looks like to dedicate your life, your expertise, and your heart to the advancement of women and girls, and to do it with extraordinary consistency for over more than 25 years. Carine Jocelyn is a nonprofit executive, administrator, trainer, and executive coach whose career has taken her from the community health centers of Port-au-Prince to the boardrooms of New York and everywhere in between. In 2007, she established a community health center in Haiti that continues to be locally run to this very day, a testament to her belief in building things that truly last. In 2014, she made history as only the second woman ever, can we just pause for that, ever, to serve as executive director of Profamil, one of Haiti's leading family planning and reproductive health organizations, and this within its 30-year history. Okay. But perhaps what Carine is best known for is what she built out of her own vision and commitment. In 2017, she founded the Haitian Women's Collective, and pretty much when we started to stalk them on social media, an organization rooted in the belief that Haitian women deserve to be seen, supported, and centered. And earlier this year, she launched the Fund for Haitian Women, the very first women's fund in the entire Caribbean region. I mean, wow. Let that land for a minute more, okay? We are so honored and genuinely delighted to welcome her to the show today. Carine, welcome.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate this opportunity. So I thank you for this opportunity to be on Island Girls Rock. I feel like I have a new little swag, more swag in my step because of this. And thank you, and certainly thank the Carolina Foundation who's making this possible.
Yes, and thank you for saying yes, because I know how busy you are, Carine. So,
Girl.
and for all of our guests, the fact that you said yes and thought, yeah, I can squeeze this in somehow,
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate that. So, Karine, obviously, Island Girls Rock, we have been girl crushing on the Haitian Women's Network for quite some time,
Yes.
probably since your
Yay.
inception.
Great, great, great.
And we're really happy to have this opportunity, like you said, to be in conversation.
Mhm.
So, let's get into it. Karine, you have over 25 years in what we call human services. You
Mhm.
have worn many hats, like I said, administrator, trainer, executive coach, consultant. So take us back to the very beginning. What first drew you to this work and what has kept you rooted in it?
So I would say that, first when you said 25 years, I thought, oh my God, has it been that? This is really dating me, 25 years, right? But yes, it has been 25 years of really being focused in community. And I think that for many, I'm sure who even listen to this, right? There's someone that comes along in your life, maybe as a child, or you saw something or were exposed to something. And out of that, right, you decide, oh, I want to be a teacher because I had a great teacher, or, I want to be a firefighter because I want to help people, right, and save people's lives. For me, I think the grounding is that I had immigrant parents from Haiti. They were the first in their family. Many of us may have had that experience also kind of leading the charge. And so my parents, came here, left their four children to live in Port-au-Prince, and I was born in the U.S. And so these are parents that I saw, giving when perhaps they didn't really have extra to give, right? They were living, they
Mm,
were doing their thing, but somehow we always had someone perhaps extra at the dinner table, or certainly for others that were coming from Haiti who were friends or family members, that we always had a welcoming home. And so that foundation, I think, is important to who I am, and how I move in the world. I learned from them about that. And I grew up in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, my first, I guess, formative years, and I was surrounded by a loving Caribbean community. If you know anything about East Flatbush or Flatbush, Brooklyn, that's how we
right.
roll. And so, I lived on a block where my best friend was from Trinidad and Tobago, and her mom was a nurse. And I remember her mom would take us to health fairs, which is quite interesting and connected to the future, right? You never think about it that way.
Right.
So we had friends from Jamaica, of course, we had African Americans, we had friends from Trinidad, and we had friends from, just a little bit of everywhere, Guyana. And so I think
Hmm.
that kind of allowed me to have a love. And so now using my knowledge and expertise, as you said, as a consultant and a coach primarily for women, interestingly enough, has all led to this feeling and need, I guess, that kept me rooted and drew me to doing the work and having faith, frankly, and a strong belief in sisterhood, because I had a
Yes.
a strong, independent mom, and I have sisters in the same, and through life, developed a network of sister friends and colleagues who
Mm.
continue to keep me, rooted. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. So, we're doing this journey with you, right? So we have your
Mhm.
origin story, and now we're moving forward to 2007 when you established a community health center in Port-au-Prince that
Yes.
still continues to be locally operated to this day. What did
Mhm.
that experience teach you about sustainability, community ownership, and what it truly means to build something that lasts?
Sadly, as I sent this, I realized that I did not update this part. And late last year, the health
Mm-hmm.
center fell to the increased crime and violence and gang, I guess, proliferation
Right.
in Port-au-Prince. And so the health
Mm.
center itself is not functioning at this time. But there
Mm-hmm.
is a lesson to be learned. And I certainly
Mm.
hope that in some way I can be involved in restarting it or
Of
re-energizing it.
course.
Somehow, you try to walk away from things, and then God says, wait,
Not
wait, wait,
yet.
come yet, not yet.
Yes.
Ain't that easy, girl. So,
Okay.
as you said, being rooted in community,
Mm.
the initial funding of support, a lot of it from friends and family and people that I bugged about this
Mm-hmm.
idea. And the idea of opening this health center really came from my mom, who's a retired registered nurse. She did her
Okay.
nursing in Haiti, and then, has lived in this country for, almost 60 years now. But she would be in
Mm.
Haiti, and she said, in this community, if people need a Tylenol, if they need to have, their blood pressure screen, there isn't any of that. And so that initial conversation came to
Mm-hmm.
our together, really looking at the community and saying, I knew I didn't want to be in there forever. So we did what we could do. We
Right.
started it. We got equipment and supplies, set up the systems over a period of a few years. And then I believe in local ownership of the solution.
Yes.
And I think that has been the ongoing challenge in Haiti, and I'm sure perhaps many other countries, that, the folks know the problems, they know the solutions, but are not often involved in the decision making process. And so that's kind of, where we are.
Okay. But you said something, and I feel that for you to have done this in 2007, and even though in the iteration that it was to last year, when
Hmm.
you said that unfortunately you had to cease operation, it's a pause and
Yes.
maybe a reframing, you
Hmm.
know? So
Hmm.
I like that you also said, that has unfortunately have to come to a close, but let's see what happens.
Mhm. And in everything that you do, let me tell you, anyone who's listening here and has
Mm,
ever created anything in Haiti or in areas that are under resourced, you know how challenging it is to raise money, but
yes.
really to operate things in a way that you would like to see it happen. And so there are many lessons learned, and perhaps, in whatever way I can help to support having that center reopen in a way that aligns with a new approach, if you
Yes.
will,
Yes.
but rooted still in community, the local
Yeah.
community owning it, and local doctors and local nurses. We don't need to bring others from outside of the country to do the
Mm,
work. And so I've certainly learned that lesson well.
okay. Lesson
Mhm.
learned, and we
Yep.
move, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
All right. So we're actually now going to move into 2014 when you stepped into the role of executive director of Profamil.
Hmm.
You became only the second woman in the organization's 30-year history to hold that position. Now, when I did my research and found that out, I was like, what? Only the second woman? So, what was that moment like for you? And what did it reveal about the spaces women are still being asked to enter and reshape?
Yes, such a great question, because the key is, I'm not flaunting that I was the second woman
Mm,
ever. What I'm
hmm.
saying is these things still happen and these things were still
Right.
happening. So Profamil is a wonderful organization,
Yes, it is.
also a CLF partner,
Yes.
providing family planning and maternal health and youth education, all of these great things over the years. And yet, although those services are primarily used by women, um, there was an imbalance, I would say, of leadership, and
Hmm.
having women lead, make decisions, direct how programs are done, ensuring that a gender positive approach was used. And so being, I got it, stepping into that, what that would mean. Things like the health center only had male doctors. And I worked to kind of change that. One of the
Hmm.
things that I also did, because I wanted the visibility of women in leadership, was we had security guards. And I asked the companies that I only wanted women security.
Yes.
um so that was kind of visible, a symbol, right, of women in power, but also that women coming into the space for a host of different reasons, which could include, being a survivor of a terrible issue, or of
Yes.
violence, that they could come and feel safe, that there were women there, right, to protect them, if you will. So
The
that's
minute they
really,
enter the building, really.
there you go, that there's a woman there and go,
Yeah,
oh, this is different, right?
exactly. Yeah, I see it.
So yeah, so that was really important. And as we talk, and as island women, I also want to say that I took a risk and did this. I took a sabbatical from my full-time job.
Hmm.
I left my children behind in New York with great family support, including their
Yes.
dad.
Yes.
And it was really about Commitment and taking a risk, um, and my willingness to listen and learn and get out of my comfort zone in Haiti, right?
Mm,
And for me to better understand how community-based organizations work in Haiti, what it means to be rooted in community when you're in Haiti. And it also taught me about why things were not necessarily working and the
okay.
lack of funding to local organizations, and that being a problem, and that's where for me I felt that the solution needed to be.
Absolutely. And as we go on this journey of Kareen, there's something for me that's already it's something that's been repeated and something that I am feeling. So I'm going to
Hmm.
continue on the journey and we'll speak
Okay.
about that towards the
Okay.
end because there's
All right.
definitely a thread that is binding all of your decisions together, which is coming out
Okay.
for me in this conversation. So, yeah,
Okay.
interesting.
Great.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, we're going to move on to 2017 when you founded HWC, Haitian Women's Collective.
Yes.
I want to know your why. What was
Hmm.
the gap you saw that no
Yeah.
one else was filling? And
Yes.
what did you want HWC to be and to
Mhm.
feel like for the women that it serves?
Yes. So when I came back from Haiti, which was, I guess, early 2016, um, one of the things that I recognized while in Haiti and then kind of coming back and forth to the US was also I would, see women that I knew either in Haiti or at the airport, either in Port-au-Prince
Of
or
course.
in, at JFK.
Yes,
And I'm like,
yes.
girl, wait, oh, you leaving today? Okay. And I thought, well, these women, who are primarily women living outside of Haiti, who are Haitian or Haitian American, many of them doing really amazing work, be it education, be it nursing, be it maternal health, be it, civic engagement, developing youth programs, just all of it, right? And I kind of felt like there wasn't a space necessarily that we could just come together and talk and exchange and I guess build each other up, listen to each other, learn from each other, and then resource each other. It wasn't about money necessarily, right? It was just about kind of being in sisterhood, if you will. And
Mm,
so when we would meet, we would talk about this need for the change in narrative, because for others outside, right, when something happens in Haiti, it's almost like we're waiting for everybody from the outside to come and help and save us.
okay.
And we know in our communities, and I think this is across the Caribbean, and we saw this in Jamaica, it's neighbors helping neighbors
Yes, it is.
because they know the community. They know what the problems are. They don't need to bring someone from the outside all the time. Of course, you need emergency response. That's completely different.
Hmm.
But we really wanted to uplift this narrative of Haitian women in community who are already doing really great work. And that the Haitian diaspora invests in Haiti. On average, I heard recently, I think it's $4 billion a year. And in fact,
Okay.
the current US administration, um, they're saying how, oh, Haitians are sending too much money into Haiti and they want to put a block on it somehow. Can you
Mm,
imagine,
I
you're
can.
being told what to do with your money that you've earned and you've paid taxes on, right? So many
Yes.
of us in the Caribbean, right? Either we're sending barrels or we're sending money. Somebody getting
Yeah,
on the plane with cash in their pockets because we have to
absolutely.
pay for school fees. Somebody is sick, whatever that,
Uniform,
yeah,
anything and everything. Yes.
Exactly. And so, building on that and the investment that I think the Haitian diaspora has made over time and not often necessarily recognized was really important. And that, women of the diaspora should be recognized. Women can't be invisible in this because it's what we always do. It's how we nurture, it's how we are caring. But, we deserve their respect and recognition as well.
Absolutely. So from moving through establishing HWC in
Yes.
2017,
Hmm.
right? We are now in 2025. Okay. So we've gone from 2017 to 2025, which is just last year, when
Yes.
you launched the Fund for Haitian Women.
Yes.
Now,
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, But is this the first women's fund in the entire Caribbean region?
It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, this is remarkable. And it is such a landmark moment. Tell me what it means to you personally, and also what do you hope it unlocks for women across the region?
I think personally, and every once in a while somebody goes, "This is pretty big." And I'm
It's
like,
huge,
"Cool, girl.
I have to say.
Yeah." And I'm tired because you're working, you're trying
Right.
to get money, you got to dot the I's, cross the T's. And the reality is that we still live in a world that women are seen and treated differently. And certainly that Black women are seen and treated differently, even when they are experienced and knowledgeable and educated and know how to lead. Right? We have those extra eyes kind of on
Mm.
us. And so for me, I think it's an important legacy in my life for sure.
Yes.
It's important for my children and certainly honoring those that came before me and those who will come after me. And so for me, what it unlocks for the women in the region is I'm a believer in the power of women and
Mm.
in sisterhood. And this is just one fund that's in Haiti. We
Yes.
know there are studies that have been done about the importance of and the ability for us to have additional funds in the region and the need for one to cover the entire region. So it really, for me, is a important way to also say Haiti is the first, but we do
Hmm.
not want to be the only. And we are prepared. I am prepared as best as possible to help in the future development of the fund in the Caribbean, where I have met amazing, dynamic women. I know you're familiar with the Black Feminist Fund
I
also,
am. Yes.
which those young feminists were just teaching me a lot. I learned a lot, and they still keeping me on my toes. But I also learned a lot from elders and continue to learn a lot from
Mm.
elders, feminist elders, the importance of grounding our work in feminist principles is really important. And that, philanthropy can work for the better, just like CLF, right? That
Yes.
philanthropy can come together, which is what happened for us in developing this fund. We didn't do it alone and we did not do it without money. You can't do something like this. You can't complete something like this that is so important without others being kind and generous in
Yes.
helping us to develop our systems and processes and helping us to ground in our work and continue to develop our values.
Absolutely. And again, it comes back to community and there being
Mhm.
so much power in the
Mhm.
collective, in the we,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. For
Absolutely.
sure.
And, you mentioned Clara Lionel, of course.
Mhm.
And for me, CLF is so deeply invested in women's leadership, right? Economic
Yes.
empowerment and locally led solutions, which align so closely with everything that HWC stands for. So I would love us to explore for a bit your relationship with CLF. How did that come about? What has
Mhm.
it meant for your work? And what does it really look like in practice when a foundation of that scale truly trusts
Yes.
and invests in women led grassroots organizations?
I mean, CLF, is just exciting. And anyone who works in the philanthropy space, right? You're getting money to run projects or do work and so forth. I still believe that you have to be careful where you take money from or
Yes,
who you take money from and what
absolutely.
institution you take money from.
Say
Okay,
it.
okay.
Say it.
Yes, because I'll tell you, there are others that I've had conversations with. You just have to be clear and be sure that folks are supportive of your values and
Mm,
this great work that we're doing. And I think CLF did that for me. I was invited and participated in their convening that they had in Barbados. And I think that kind of, sitting, listening, learning, which is so important to me, continuing to learn is so important in my life. And
yes.
that convening really stirred a belief in me in one Caribbean.
Oh,
And that flexible funding that we have received from CLF has allowed us to build our capacity. It's allowed us to work with our partner organizations, three in particular,
hmm,
more closely because they are doing the great work around, as you said, economic development. They're
yes.
working on healthcare access. One of our partners who was young and new, young feminists, they're working on menstrual care,
Okay.
um, which is something, wow, you mean they're talking about this these days?
Love to see
Many of
it.
us who were young women, right? When did,
Yes.
how did that happen? And
Yes.
of course, the issue around climate and farming and women entrepreneurs, women farmers, all
Hmm.
of that, right? All coming together. And I would say that, for us, I think one of the challenges for the Haitian Women's Collective in particular is we don't provide direct service. We don't build
Right.
wells. We're not, starting a school. What we want to do is exactly what this conversation has been about. It's amplifying the voices of Haitian women because often they are kept silent. Not
Mm.
that they want to be silent, but they are kept silent. And so we continue to be out in public and in spaces and advocating and, all that we can do to amplify their voices. And also this idea that, as I mentioned before, that the power of women and our being able to continue to strengthen their leadership and their organizations. And now with the Fund for Haitian Women, be able to provide them with the funding they need to be able to do the work. And CLF is an important part of that now and in our continued development and future.
Wonderful, Karine. And you said something there, which, we've had a few of these conversations already.
Mhm.
And what's coming across for us is the importance of, like you said, funding and support that is geared towards building systems
Mhm.
and which is flexible and which
Yes.
allows you almost as, seeing HWC as a container, right? So, which
Yes.
helps the container to nurture all the partners and collaborators who they want to
Hmm.
pour into. And
Hmm.
that is the type of funding that our women led organizations need. And
That's
again,
right.
I feel like I said in a prior conversation, this is not to say we don't need project based funding, because
Yes,
we
of course.
absolutely do. But what
Hmm.
supports the project is a system, an organizational system that is thriving,
Yes.
right? And that is being supported in such a way that that very system doesn't burn out and disappear because they no
Yes.
longer have the space to feed
Hmm.
into and pour into
Hmm.
everyone else.
Yeah,
So that
for
is the
sure.
key.
Hmm.
Yes,
Hmm. And
definitely.
really also that I trust my partners in Haiti.
Yes.
Someone said to me, "Oh, you're giving them money with that." I said, "Listen, the funding does not go, the trust-based funding, and this is the term we use a lot now. It
Mm,
doesn't go without a sense of accountability or transparency, right?"
hmm.
And I just want to say that often we hold those that are the most in need, in times of crisis or most vulnerable, and particularly again back to women of color, but certainly Black women, right? We want to check and balance everything. We want to dot the I. We want to make sure
Yes.
that right? Meanwhile, there's
But
an
you know
over,
why, Karine, you know why? Because we don't want nobody tell us anything,
yeah,
okay? Let's be real. I don't want nobody to have anything to say about me. So, yes.
we do all of it, right? And
Right.
so having the partnership in philanthropy with our
Mm,
partners is really important.
it
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
And what we are seeing, right, because of this type of funding, is that more and more women led organizations across the Caribbean are finding one another. They're collaborating, they're building bridges.
Hmm.
So, what is your read on this moment? Why do you think is happening now? And what do you think becomes possible when we move together?
Hmm. I don't believe the success in terms of feminist approach, if you want to call it that, or are looking at gender, the importance of keeping women safe and thriving in the region can happen without bringing women together.
Okay.
There is something to be said about, right, a collective approach,
Yes.
collective thought.
So we understand that in order for us to be better, right, we need to be together in the region, and the importance of feminists coming together, the importance of our looking at gender, the importance of our keeping women and girls safe. Frankly, I think that it's so important to bring all of the wonderful, dynamic women that I've met across the region, who are these professors, who are these young feminists, who are queer young women. I mean, just all of it, and how
Mm.
important and enriching I think that that will be for us to come together at this time. I said to someone recently when I was in Jamaica, actually, and I said, I'm wondering if Caribbeans in the diaspora, who, especially those that can work remotely, are like, I may need to leave the US and go back home, right? And
Yes, please
I
do. Please come home.
care for, and all of those things that raise us up, right, that are important,
Mm.
good for us. But I think that for sure, right, we have all we need to go forward. We have the expertise, we have the thought partners, we have the Caribbean diaspora, and we do have resources. We often think we're not rich enough, but we certainly have the resources. And I think at this time, during a sense of a fragile world, right, that
Mhm.
seems to be, the world is on fire.
Yeah.
um, it's so important for us to collaborate, and as you said, to build bridges.
Yes, it is. Indeed.
Yeah.
You know, Karine, and you said something at the beginning of the conversation. You're aging me. I am not, but your work has been so intentional and so consistent in the decades that you have shown up and advocated for women and girls, right? From Haiti to New York and across the diaspora. So, if you could speak directly to a young woman in the Caribbean right now who is, going through life and trying to figure things out and trying to find her footing, what would you want her to know?
My message to her would be to take care of yourself, which
Hmm.
may sometimes mean putting yourself first above others. And that is not being selfish. I think we
Mm.
often feel like we have to do everything and take care of everyone. So I would say take care of yourself. Obviously, have faith, whatever that faith means for you. Have the faith and believe in yourself also, right? Um, and if you can think about it, if you have that dream, I feel like it means that it's possible,
Yes.
right? We tend to doubt ourselves, and that's okay. Things are challenging. And, as we develop, as all people develop, but young women and developing, from girls to adolescents and young women and so forth. Um, your self-confidence grows, right? You're being rooted in yourself, your foundation of who you are, is so important. So don't give up on yourself and surround yourself with people who love and care and applaud for you, right? We say,
Mm.
those that'll speak kindly about you when you're not even in the room.
Yes.
So
That is
that's important.
important. That's
Yes.
very important.
Mhm.
And as you look ahead, what is the vision that you are working toward? What does success look like for HWC and the Fund for Haitian Women tomorrow? I don't even want to go like 5 years, 10 years. Like, what does it look like for this year, for this
Mhm.
month?
Yes. So right now in New York, it is the UN Commission on the Status of Women. So women around the world, from many parts of the world, are in New York and addressing the needs of women. As
Hmm.
as broad as that is, there are many specific pieces to it. And so for us this year, we commit to being visible. We commit to sharing
Yes.
the message that Haitian women and girls are important and they matter. And, investing in this model of supporting local organizations is an important part of the solution to the multiple crises that are going on in Haiti. And this year, because we have the fund, we're committed. We're putting out our next cohort of funding under the Fund for Haitian Women, which will be flexible. It's firmly rooted in community. It's funding for 3 years.
Oh,
Folks apply, they could use it for general operating support or they can use it for a project. And it's because we know our partners. We've been,
mm,
chatting with them, been with them for a good 3 years now. So we know the work that they're doing in community. So continuing to support them, yes, of course, with funding, we need more money without a doubt, right?
yes.
But also helping them to strengthen their capacity and for our leaders also to take care of themselves. You
Mm,
can't do this work and be empty. And so filling your cup, as they say, is
yes.
so important. And so this year, the idea of wellness and well-being being really paramount and important for us.
Thank you for that, Karine. And especially
Mhm.
thank you for taking care not just of your partners and not just in a way that supports their projects, but in a way that actually supports them, the people
Yes.
behind the work.
Right.
And,
Hmm.
you and I were recently, like you said, we were in Jamaica at a very powerful convening. And for me, as one of those people that does the work, I have to say, I'm going to be really honest in this conversation
Hmm.
that I very rarely think of myself when I think of the work.
Hmm.
And it was almost, I remember being sat in one of the rooms, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was the founder of an organization in Jamaica. And
Mm.
she was speaking of a point that she got to where she thought, okay, no, I can't do this anymore
Yeah.
because I personally I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired. I don't my
Yes.
finances are in a
Hmm.
shambles, and she just didn't know how she was going to continue on.
Hmm.
And for her, the answer came through the type of funding that you just spoke about, funding that takes care of the leaders as well.
100%. We
Yes.
need that. And I think as we continue to talk and collaborate. And as I mentioned to you before, I was in Antigua last
Mm.
week. We were just right. We were together in Kingston. We've been in Barbados as a group, and so there's something to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about the power of women coming together. But I also think that. Which I have learned from the young ones also. Many of them talk about the soft life, right?
I love it. I love
I'm
the young
telling
ones.
you. I am learning. Okay, I
Yeah.
have a 22-year-old daughter. I have learned from her and her friends, and the importance of caring for each other and having a space where, a woman who is a leader and having a challenge in Antigua can go to Jamaica and rest for a little bit, right?
Yes.
And meet
Oh,
that
yes.
sister leader who can sit with her and just give her a space to do nothing, right? It's
Mm.
okay to do nothing. I would, as you said, that young Caribbean woman who's listening, it's okay to do nothing too. You don't have to be running crazy all the time.
Also
Um,
that. Yes.
yes, but building that network and support for us to do the important work is key to our success.
Yes. Karine, thank you. Thank you for your decades of work, right? And for the vision it took to found HWC and for the audacity to create the first women's fund in the entire Caribbean region.
Whoop
You,
whoop.
yes, girl, a whoop whoop,
Yes.
a brap brap, like
Yeah.
all the things, okay?
All
All
the
the things
things.
to
Yes, yes,
Karine.
yes.
You are everything. You are
Thank
proof
you.
that when women lead with purpose, the ripple effects are generational. So, to everyone listening, we really hope that this conversation stirred something in you. Okay, so whether it's a reminder of your own power because it's there, a
Mhm,
renewed commitment to sisterhood and solidarity and how that looks and feels, or
mhm.
the quiet reassurance that there are women out there doing the work every single day. Okay, thank you for listening. And if you would like to learn more about the Haitian Women's Collective and the Fund for Haitian Women, we will have all the links in our show notes. If today's episode resonated with you, please share it. Leave us a review and keep showing up for community. Until next time, with love. Bye. You've been listening to Rooted, Stories of Community-Driven Change, a limited edition podcast series from Island Girls Rock and the Clara Lionel Foundation. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix.